That is not the saying.
I'm telling you, it's something along that line.
It's like that, yeah.
But Mike is right. It was Men's Warehouse.
Men's Warehouse. You're gonna like the way you look.
Austin Burke, like if you bought enough suits, he'd give you his house, right? Like buy 6 suits, I'll give you my house, my car, my dogs.
It's just a guy aggressively talking to you. Yeah. Come down to Austin Burke. We're the best.
If you bring your receipt from the Big G's.
Also not it.
Is that the tagline?
I think there is a tagline, but none of them are. You've got the general tenor and tone. You've got the spirit of it. He is shouting savings at you. He's doing so. It sounds like they're spittle.
Not happy to be doing it either.
I know. Well, aggressively, inauthentically happy. I've got 9 suits. I'll give you 9. 9 for the price of 1.
Yeah. Now, what I was trying to get at was, hey, you in your car, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, right now you can enter for a chance for you and 3 of your friends to come down to Miami and sit in on a taping of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. Hang with the cast for a Monday Night Football watch party on December 11th. Enter right now. Time is running out at MillerTimeMiami.com. Presented by Miller Lite. It ends on November 16th. See all official rules at MillerTimeMiami.com. And in those official rules, you'll know not to speak to Mike at this event whatsoever. I know he loves Miller Lite. Do not talk to him. Do not look him in the eye. And if you see him at an airport, don't have your entree into a conversation be about the Middle East. Just saying. That's a thing that happened to me.
Stugotz, are you surprised at all? And Chris Cody is presently looking up the Austin Burke slogan. Are you surprised at all that Tommy DeVito volunteered to reporters that he still lived at home and that his mother makes his bed, the Giants quarterback?
I am surprised, but I'm glad he did it because it's adorable. It is. Like, I love the idea of, the parents being home and the kid comes home from work and where he's coming home from is Giants practice. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that's just, it's cool, it's unique, and I'm glad he put it out there because a lot of people are mocking him. It's not an easy thing to put out there, still living with your parents.
Also, Tommy DeVito, you want to be a good quarterback in this league, you got to make your own damn bed.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Tommy DeVito, you want to be a good quarterback in this league, you got to make your own damn bed. I do believe a lot of people were judging it. I do believe that people will say, generally speaking, as an absolute, you cannot be a successful professional quarterback in the NFL.
He's not.
If you are still living at home and your mother is making your bed. You have to grow up slightly more than that. And I say that, by the way, I should point out to people, this is a real thing that happened. Bernie Kosar in his 50s, I saw this in his kitchen. He was cutting a long French bread baguette. He was doing it with a saw from his garage because no one had taught him anything other than how to be a quarterback. He didn't know how to do his bills. He didn't know how to do all he knew how to do was be a quarterback. And so the more people that are helping you in that regard, making your bed and other things, allow you to concentrate only on being a quarterback. It's kind of a full-time consuming job.
But hold on a second. There's a difference between I don't know what knife to use from a knife set to cut bread and I'm using a saw from a garage. Like, that has nothing to do with being a quarterback. At a certain point, it's like, are you okay?
Fair enough. My point is just to illustrate that I physically saw it and I knew that man had learned nothing in life.
Is it possible Tommy DeVito knows, hey, I'm not long for this gig of NFL quarterback.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Let me save what I can now.
He's making $44,000 a week, and he has no idea when it's going to disappear. And it's probably going to disappear sooner than he'd like. So he's living with mom and dad, and he's saving a ton of money, as he should.
And they're making his bed. By the way, if you get a bed, make sure you get it from Mattress Giant. Ooh, ah.
Chris Cody, have you found the Austin Burke
I have
slogan yet? All right, keep looking for it.
Custom-made suits.
I don't think they have one.
It's like the only thing I'm seeing on multiple things.
Only at Mattress Giant.
We have heard 20 years worth of Austin Burke commercials. One of us must remember at some point what the hell that guy was shouting at us through his slobber.
That Josie sent you.
Eric and Tony.
Did you guys notice yesterday? I don't know if the rest of you saw this because I had a reaction that made me feel like in the movie The Matrix where you see the second black cat make an appearance. In the first half of Josh Dobbs, the magical Josh Dobbs, in the first half, he targeted TJ Hockensen, by my count, 10 times for like 128 yards. And there were also 10 plays where I thought Hockensen's own foot was in his right ear. The beating that man took getting those catches so that Josh Dobbs could be heroic. I kept seeing him folded over with his own foot on his forehead inside his helmet. He was getting bent all sorts of ways. And I'm like, surely this man is not going to keep coming into this game. And surely he did, made a Frankenstein part. And I'm like, that man is going to feel so horrible on Monday. And so great because the entire Vikings offense, because the Saints defense is rugged and cruel and mean and they hit viciously, he got folded up like an accordion 5 different times in the first half. And I'm like, what are his stats? Are they throwing to anybody else?
No. He was targeted 16 times.
The Vikings 5-0 without Justin Jefferson.
Amazing.
Hottest team in the league.
Crazy.
People have been pointing out that unders in primetime games. I think it's like 7-24, something like that. And the reason for this is the networks aren't flexing out of bad games. Yeah. We've had the Jets on multiple primetime games.
Yes.
And we're going to have Vikings-Broncos. Surely, a week ago, you're looking at the schedule and saying, well, here comes our flex. First flex of the year. But the Josh Dobbs story is something so magnetic. People are drawn to it. He's on his 3rd team just this year alone.
And they're a playoff
that they're
team,
going to make a superstar out of his story come next Sunday night.
When I saw Hockensen do the wounded soldier climb, you know when you get down on the floor and you're kind of like doing one of these moves? After the 3rd time I saw him do it, I was like, all right, they got to get him out of the game. They got to throw the flag here. This can't continue to happen.
Speaking of things that can't continue to happen, I don't know if any of you think about this at all. But in college and professional football, if it hasn't been said by somebody before, allow me to be the first. Go ahead and eradicate the kickoff. Go ahead. Like, what are we doing? We're wasting everybody's time. The same way we do with that Michigan-Penn State game every year.
Right.
We're wasting everybody's time with the kickoffs. Why are we still doing that? Why are we still watching people I saw that Washington has allowed 0 return yards this year because they just kick the ball through the end zone every time. Like, why not
just place the ball down?
Don't risk the concussions. Right. Don't make anybody run down for any collision on any play. Why are we doing it? When's the last time that you saw in college football they break away on the kicks, but you don't see that in professional football anymore. It's gone. Has there been a kickoff return for a touchdown this year that anyone can remember?
I think there was like a really short one that was housed. Like there was an onside kick attempt that was housed, and people would ask, well, then how do you do an onside kick to get the ball back? You can do like the XFL rule where you go like 4th and 15.
I mean, it's outlived its usefulness, has it not?
There were 6 last year. 6 kickoff returns for touchdowns last year.
That's pretty damning. Right. You got to keep that thing around.
You do?
Yeah.
I just called
play right there.
I just called Austin Burke, and they don't even know their slogan.
Did you tell them Josie sent you? Call again.
The person I talked to was like, "You have to call back tomorrow."
Call again and say tomorrow. Again.
Why tomorrow?
Call again. Say Josie and Don sent me.
Somebody picked up a landline at a telephone number that you called.
At first, I was like, "Hey, you guys, these commercials you guys used to do. What was your slogan?" And they're like, "Hold on." And someone else answered, and they're like, "I don't know. Call back tomorrow."
So, Dan, there was 1,013 kickoffs last year in the NFL. 6 were returned for touchdowns.
I don't think anybody.
Is that enough?
I don't think anybody.
I can't
would miss
name
it,
one.
Stugotz.
Right.
I don't think anybody would miss it. If you're gonna do it this way, I'm going to miss it. But I'm done missing it. Don't do it this way. Every kick is going to go through the end zone, and nobody's going to return anything.
You're not celebrating how players' safety initiatives are working in this league.
It is working.
Dan just
Even
wants to see
more,
people running full speed into one another.
Or car accidents.
No, he wants them to go away. Only 20% of kickoffs are even attempted to be returned.
I don't like when I'm deked out by the punt returner or the kick returner who's like getting themselves in a position where it seems like they're going to take off. Braxton Berrios does this like almost every game where he goes and he's like, oh, he has like the crazy like outfielder feet. And it's like, oh, this guy's revving up. He's going to take out, and then last minute, whoop, and then he just fair catch.
My
It's
favorite
like,
play. My favorite play is the decoy, kind of like a Max Johnson, the decoy punt returner that goes to the opposite side of the field, pretends to return it, and the ball's in the air. They're just chasing the one
Everyone's
guy.
chasing him.
Meanwhile, old Kirby Dardar on the other side.
Old Kirby Dardar. I believe that he had an Austin Burke deal when he was.
There's no way.
And he also got injured on the XFL run for the ball. We're full circle here.
Some people have written in a question that I think is a good one because I saw some video of Nolan Ryan at 76 years old wearing khaki pants, throwing out the first pitch at an honorary baseball game. And not surprisingly, Nolan Ryan, who threw 100 miles an hour 20 or 30 years before anyone else could do it, not surprisingly, Nolan Ryan at 76 years old still throws the ball very hard. And a few people asked us if we think the shipping container can foul a ball off of Nolan Ryan. Foul a ball off of 76-year-old Nolan Ryan. Now, Chris Cody, who once singled to right field off of Matt Latos in a high school game, he believes that he can hit anybody. So he is undaunted by khaki-wearing 76-year-old Nolan Ryan.
Is it 76 miles an hour or is he 76 years old?
He's 76.
He's 76.
So we don't know how fast he's throwing.
Well, he was 63 at the time of the video. He threw 85.
By the way, it was Terry Kirby who had the Austin Burke deal.
Thank you. It was not Kirby Dardar. It was Terry Kirby. I
One of the
appreciate
Kirbys,
it.
I think he's still
What's off
trying
the
to
name Kirby?
chase down Steve White.
Do you guys?
For like 2 years, I got angry calls from Terry Kirby. Hey, where's Steve's number?
I don't know, though. That ball looks like it. The one we just put up there looked like it had some movement on it. I mean, I'm going to try. I'm not going to be overly intimidated because he's not throwing 100 anymore, but I'll give it a whirl.
But I think Nolan Ryan, if he saw you in the box, would all of a sudden be throwing 100 anymore.
And at me, probably.
I think Nolan Ryan would brush you off the plate, and I do think that's not him humming it in there. That's an honorary first pitch.
Oh, he's trying
He
there,
could
though.
He's grooving it.
Did you see that leg kick?
He could get all of his ass
He
in
wants
there,
to
though.
show, though, that he's still got it right there.
Well, he did have it back then.
I don't
It's an
believe
aggressive leg kick.
I don't believe that we could get a hit off of a 76-year-old Nolan
No,
Ryan.
that is a very old video. That's the old ballpark in Arlington. Yeah, we can go Yardo.
Drop a bunt down.
Yardo.
Oh, Oppo Boppo.
Dropping a bunt is like more difficult than just
Drop a
hitting
bunt
it.
down.
Lost
He's
start.
throwing a flat. He's throwing a flat 878 or whatever.
Break
it
your
is.
finger if you
Nah,
try to
you got to
bunt.
hold it the right way. Just
A little dainty.
yep. Look down the left field line.
Kind of catch the ball with the bat.
Just broke that left pinky finger of yours. A listener writes in curiously, haven't seen this addressed yet anywhere. I need answers so I can search for footage. Why is the word ass spray painted on the background behind Dan?
You don't get the show.
Do more of that, please. I want more ass in the background.
Hell yeah.
Stugotz, I don't know the rapper Jelly Roll. He looks like a rapper named Jelly Roll.
You think I do?
No, I'm just using you as a transition to get
Okay,
to a
good.
speech.
Got it.
What was this? The Country Music Awards? What was this?
Yeah, Jelly Roll is a country music superstar in that his brand of hip hop is centered in that genre, and he's an inspiring story. He's become a huge headlining act. He's headlining a festival locally, I think, in a couple of months. He's become a huge sensation, and he won an award at the CMAs and delivered a really inspirational speech. And I want you guys to listen to it and hear your takeaway.
Nashville! I only got a second, and I'm going to say a lot, and I'm sorry, but the quickest I can say it is thank you to the label, Stony Creek Management, John Loba, Joe Jamie, you saved my life. Country Radio, what's up, baby? I got 1,000 people to thank you, but most importantly, my Lord and my wife. I love you so much, you changed my life, baby. Megan, Parker, Haley, I love all y'all, we're friends. And Zach Bryan, I think you are one of the hottest things on earth, not just country music. You deserve this as much as anybody else. I love you. I'm glad we're sitting there partying the rest of the night, baby. But most importantly, there is something poetic about a 39-year-old man winning New Artist of the Year. I don't know where you're at in your life or what you're going through, but I want to tell you to keep going, baby. I want to tell you success is on the other side of it. I want to tell you it's going to be okay. I want to tell you that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, because what's in front of you is so much more important than what's behind you. Let's party, Nashville!
That sounded like a Sunday morning sermon.
It sounded like Dusty Rhodes' Hard Times promo to me.
I got goosebumps.
And the back window's pretty big in the car.
I'd crack it right out if I needed to with
There's
my
no way.
with
One
my
swing of the
arms
hammer.
You don't
device.
need to if you just wait for the
Right.
pressure to
Exactly.
equalize.
Just open the door.
There were a couple of cool stories that came from the CMAs. I don't know if you guys saw the CMAs. Do you know who won Song of the Year? It's a Songwriters Award. What? Go ahead. What? Say it on the mic.
How would I know? It's country music. Like,
Tracy Chapman.
oh yes, that's right. Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
So you did know.
You did,
I forgot. No, I forgot.
Jack Spade, come on.
That's right.
Tracy Chapman won.
34
Do you know?
years
Do you
later.
know what song she won for?
No.
Fast Car.
Oh, the same one.
Yeah, because songs can chart back in there. We now have representative data of the times that we're in. It's how Running Up That Hill after Stranger Things becomes a massive smash, becomes one of the songs of that year because it's charting. And so it's why Mariah Carey's back in our lives and probably going to get another one record, the same one that she gets every year. It's a really cool story.
But Luke Combs' version is the reason it won.
But who wrote the song?
No, I know that technically she wins that award, but
Yeah, but we're in a really cool, unprecedented time when it comes to music because the cell phone that you hold in your hand, is giving you accurate data. And if you look at the charts, when someone drops an album, you'd have the lead single maybe chart, and then the second single comes out 3 months later, and then that would chart. Now you look at the top 10. If it's a week that Drake drops an album, he's got 8
Bunny?
of the top 10. It's a crazy time, and you have to kind of put an asterisk on some of this stuff, like it's kind of pre and post merger. When you talk about how Drake has as many number ones as the Beatles, because the Beatles did it in a very conventional way. If the Beatles dropped their entire catalog all at once, they'd have like 75 of the top 100. But it's a really fascinating time.
Roy, I want to examine what just happened, where you went off mic. Like, you're a professional broadcaster. You've been doing this with us for 2 decades. Off mic, you said you had no interest in the Country Music Awards. We forced you to come to the microphone where you then said you had no knowledge whatsoever of the Country Music Awards. Then you heard the one bit of information that Mike Ryan gave on the Country Music Awards, and you exclaimed, "Oh, I knew that." Now, as a professional...
No, I said, oh, I forgot about that. That is what I said. Verbatim.
Okay.
Get it right then.
But it also means at one time you knew it.
Yeah, to forget
Right.
it, you have
Yeah.
to know it.
The whole...
No, it's country music, man.
It's the whole, how am I supposed to know when, in your defense, you're claiming that you knew? Yeah.
That is no, I forgot, which meant I didn't know anymore.
We're playing
because
a
I forgot.
we're-
it's semantics.
We're playing a
We're
semantics
going
game.
in circles.
At one
here.
point,
You didn't know at one
big
point.
at one
360.
point, maybe last week, you knew.
Yes.
My point is that mic time
Oh, there's a
around
point.
here is precious. Yes, the point is just in general, I want to examine the professional incompetence in what it is that we're doing here, where it is
It is
something
a bit harsh, man.
that,
He forgot something.
well, but yes, but he forgot that he
he
knew
was
something.
dismissive, and then he was wrong.
No, I was dismissive of the whole genre of country music. To Americans.
Exactly.
If I may,
You may.
you were dismissive.
I must point out that Tracy
Tracy is
Chapman
black.
is
Yes, I know.
black.
Yes. How's it to Americas? No, the entire genre right now is to Americas. That's what I meant.
He forgot.
Darius Rucker performed.
Jerry's Rucker does perform. So there's very few black people in the country.
When's the next post-game show?
It's no, they're on the road right now. So we're gonna have to wait until the next home game.
After loudly proclaiming that you knew nothing about country music and have no interest in country music, it was then revealed by the only person who would have this information that you did indeed.
You outed yourself.
You.
No, I'm just forgetful. That's all it is. I'm getting old. I'm sorry.
But Roy, once you dismiss it, you can't come back and go, "Oh yeah." You just got to dismiss it.
Roy, go
Like
sit.
it never happened.
Go.
I'm
go-
just
go-
happy for
get-
Tracy
get out of
Chapman.
here.
I'm out of here.
Just
See you guys
get out
later.
of here.
Yeah.
Just get out of here, please.
happening too much.
How
can't-
long, though? I mean-
You cannot get out of here long enough.
I mean, I'm not Jeremy. I'm sorry.
If you'd like to leave and not return till Wednesday, I'd be fine with that.
I'm off on Wednesday.
Why are you still here? It's hard for me to explain how bad that was. I don't want to hear your arguments off mic anymore.
I mean, he forgot something.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look.
I'm not saying it's
He's
not.
the only one with the information that can keep tabs on himself. And if you forget clerically, then just don't say anything. Don't say it off mic. Don't say it on mic. don't give me your opinion that you have no opinions, but that one opinion is the one that you had. And then when they ask you about Darius Rucker, that's also an opinion you had.
Well, the opinion wasn't that. It was who cares, and then it quickly became, oh, I care. I forgot.
Right.
One of the things that I want to reveal to the audience, Stugotz, there are a couple of things here that I just want them to pay attention to.
Kane Brown is part black. Yeah. It's just a monster country music artist.
Over the weekend, Stugotz, and I have told you this before, at one point, Disney had no interest in getting into what they viewed as cockfighting, what John McCain was calling cockfighting, which was mixed martial arts. A partnership with mixed martial arts was viewed as too dirty to be something that Disney would get involved with. This is when John Skipper was running the company. Wouldn't even take meetings with Dana White, wouldn't be seen next to the octagon because Dana White wanted to use powerful people to get the deals that he wants to get so he can run the sewer business over there that is the fighting sports. Over the weekend, Dana White, because Disney is woke, Stugotz. In Florida, Disney is too woke. Dana White, in partnership with Disney, goes to the fights with Trump and Kid Rock and Tucker Carlson as Bill Burr's wife, Nia, double middle fingers.
Wait, he went to the fights with who?
Well, let me paint the picture for you. I was there in the building, the Mecca, greatest stadium in the world or whatever they call it.
New York has been
Arena.
very successful. New York has been very successful for UFC the last few weeks. But I want to show people here the choices made during the pandemic when Disney started bleeding money and stuff. You've gone into partnership with a production company that produces its own material. I cannot explain to you how much power Dana White has over everything that he's executing, both at ESPN and in a sport where Vince McMahon just cashed out 30% of his stock and got $700 million for 30% of his ownership of this fusing of businesses that has been Dana White and Vince McMahon. And they, in the case of Dana White, can now use Disney as a tool because he's got so much power over this. And Disney, which is too woke, it's Tucker Carlson, it's Kid Rock, and it's Donald Trump.
That's like the white supremacy Avengers you just rattled off.
So here's the thing, like right before, so the main card starts at 10 o'clock, and that's where the pay-per-view kicks in. The lights go dark, they do their usual song and dance, and then all of a sudden the lights turn on, you hear American Badass, and then all of a sudden you know who's coming out. Trump gets on the screen, Kid Rock's behind him, Tucker Carlson's behind him, Dana's in an all-black suit, and they're walking out of the tunnels to mixed reviews. Some people were cheering, some people were not. But it's just an incredible scene where you know it's going to happen, and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. There it is, just an explosion. It's crazy.
It is an amazing power move by a guy who has, can survive slapping his wife in public and is in such deeply embedded partnership with ESPN that ESPN doesn't say anything about it because he's got all the power and
what can ESPN do though, Dan? If they were to say something about it, what are they going to say?
It's Disney, Stugotz. Like Disney's.
I know, but they made a deal with Dana White and with the UFC, and Dana White chooses to walk into the fights with who he chooses to walk into the fights with.
But you got out of politics pretty good. You got out.
Yes, you did.
You got out of politics after George Floyd, after sending corporate statements that were, suggested that you weren't going to be in this business, and now you are, whether you want to or not, because you can't control his production company because he runs the whole thing and he can flout it in your face with Disney's backing. And I'm just showing you what shifted there. You could care to ignore it if you want. It might not be interesting to you, but it's a choice. It's a moneyed choice that's been made. And I will tell you again that in Florida, Disney's allegedly too woke. In Florida, Disney's on the wrong side of politics, but here they are in bed with the person who's governing the sewer, and the sewer disposes of these athletes in a way that profits him a great deal and also control job politically, publicly with Disney's backing.
Dan, you touched on Bill Burr's wife, Nia Hill, shooting double middle fingers over at former President Trump. And naturally, she's become vilified by very vocal voices on the right. A lot of people with not nice things to say. A lot of people discussing her tact, which I find really funny because I've been to plenty of sporting events where there's a "fuck Joe Biden" chant at, right? But this is apparently too crass to shoot middle fingers at the president, and I am deeply confused by that. And also, not as confused as a lot of people who are Bill Burr fans. Because Bill Burr fans, and I recently saw a bunch of 9-line shirts over at the Bill Burr show that was in Hollywood. He has become kind of this voice that's held up. His most recent movie, Old Dads, talks about like this PC culture, and he does a lot of stuff that I guess people on the right identify with, not knowing that he has very liberal views, I guess, and has been pretty public about this stuff, but they choose to see what they want to see. So they're having difficulty reconciling a person that has been held up by the right as someone like, that's our guy, with his wife giving President Trump double middle fingers. Guys, Bill Burr's never been on your side. He's a white guy from Boston. That's where it ends, really. Like, he voted for Nader one time. I guess you could hold that up. But Bill Burr's never been your voice. But I do find it odd in being so offended by this when you've sold T-shirts and you have your chance. And sometimes you say directly to the sitting president that this is too crass. Isn't this the snowflake offense that you constantly label people on the left with?
I'd like to get to the lighter matter here that I was trying to get to, because I know that many people don't want this with their sports, and we are in an awfully crass
But
time.
the people that don't want it with their sports, Dan, are the same people that are cheering Donald Trump when he shows up to the UFC. Like, they don't want it with their sports when it's convenient.
I understand, but the inconsistency of these things is something that you will play whack-a-mole on for the rest of time, and you will never win. You'll just exhaust yourself trying to make somebody.
Hey, I'm good with it.
I'm
no snowflake.
Consistent.
I'm no snowflake. Like, you do what you want at these sporting events, free country and all. I just find it weird.
You were pointing at me for some reason.
I was just in general. I was doing whack-a-mole on. You cannot
stretching your arms.
That we will descend further and further into a conversation about inconsistencies and hypocrisies that will simply ignore that this is the best thing to happen to Kid Rock's career and in a very long time. He is being rewarded somehow for machine gunning a bunch of Bud Lights, and that's the time that we're living in. And if you just told me this in the 90s, I would have been very confused.
But that's the grift right now. There's no actual cancel culture. It's a myth. In fact, if you bump up against what is conventional political correctness, there's a great pot of gold waiting for you. In fact, conservatives have kind of revived stand-up comedy.
You say that cancel culture is a myth. What's not a myth is shooting up beer cans at Bud Light did alter the way that corporations are afraid of summoning a Kid Rock from the 90s to shoot up their product when they want to sit this stuff out. I keep looking at the corporations and telling people, when do you have enough money that you can stand for stuff and it can just be Ben and Jerry's? Like, really stand for stuff. Not everybody put out the statements after George Floyd. And then we got back to business. Like, we got back to the stuff corrected itself, and it's like it didn't happen. It's like there were protests in the streets a few years ago, and then everyone shook, and everyone was bothered by, this month, this streaming service is going to give you Black History Month movies for free because that's how we're going to deal with George Floyd. And then we got back to business. And the reason I just pointed out to you is just to marvel that in 2023, Stugotz, to legitimately marvel at it, there is a lane for, I'm going to be all-powerful counterculture white guy who answers to no one, and I'm going to win at the fighting sport. This is a man who signed in an alley a Fox extension that saved his sport. The Fertitta brothers, Stugotz, have made so much money off of everything this is, which is controlling the fighters and using them, paying them abhorrently throwing them in the body machine mill, and then making money that helps Disney and helps him and Vince McMahon get rich while he's drunkenly playing at blackjack tables, stacked chips, stacked grotesquely high because he can, speaking at the Republican National Convention, and now arming a fan base of, I mean, these are knuckle draggers that I have fought for a long time, Stugotz, because I haven't respected the mixed martial arts enough. This undercurrent of this is the safe space for our people, and we're going to cater to it, and we're going to become more and more powerful, all powerful, where he's running the ability to produce what ESPN is putting on its airwaves, Stugotz. Very few people have that power.
You're angry about it, but at this point, can we be surprised by it? That he's allowed to do it, that there's a lane for people to make a lot of money.
I'm not, you know what? I'm not, the part that I'm angry about is not that he does it, Stugotz. It's the part that makes me angry is, hey, people, do you see what's happening here? Like, do you see how obvious this is? Is it not so obvious you can't see it?
It sounds like you're angry that it's happening, though. But that's good. That's cool because I am.
No, I'm not.
I'll
you should be angry.
No, I don't like it because I don't like Donald Trump. So that's why I don't like it. And also, there's a double standard that I called out earlier. But what bothers me is that it's Donald Trump.
The part that bothers me is how obvious of a troll job it is in that photo. Look at Dana White's face on that, and look at Tucker Carlson's face on that. And if you can
He's
see,
very pleased with himself. Yes. Yep.
When they were all walking out, the three of them, Dana's smiling there, but they were trying to be cool, and then you had just Tucker behind them, like cheesing, just like high-fiving people. It was a weird thing.
This for them can feel like Chris Bosh. You remember when Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron came up on the stage for the first time? When they turned around, you saw on Chris Bosh's face a surprise, like, holy shit, I'm famous. like he got the energy of it, surprise that Dwayne and LeBron tried to be cool about it. And when they turned around, couldn't be. But Bosh dissolved entirely. That's Tucker Carlson.
That was Tucker.
Yeah. That was Tucker.
Like, yeah.
Well,
high five for you. High
He's
five
the
for
Bosh.
you.
Anytime someone gets like churned by the PC machine and cancel culture, they find their allies and they revel in it. And it's how something like Russell Brand happens, where they just go deeper and deeper and deeper until people have convinced themselves that everyone's making up lies and accusations to shut this freedom fighter up. It's not easy to be unpopular. It's why I'm on an island with Victor Wembanyama trying to save our great game of basketball.
Right.
No por nada, but when you walk out to the octagon side, because I've sat octagon side, when you walk out and there's 20,000 people like just cheering, it's not even for you, but it feels like everybody's looking at you. It's a crazy
Oh, it's
feeling.
the gladiator spectacle. Like it must be wonderful to anybody who's in the middle of it. But if we're going to be in a new age, I prefer the way Stephen A. Smith is using the platform. Really, not just Stephen A. Smith. Both Stephen A. Look, I've got a giant smile on my face because it really tickles me that both Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe are now using their platforms as dating apps because Shannon Sharpe has got a new power, Stugotz. He's broken away from Skip Bayless and left him in the dust because he's got an assortment of properties that are popular and because he is out here mingling. He is in the mix for let's see who it is that wants to date Shannon Sharpe. And because Stephen A. Smith is competitive at everything, he does not want Shannon Sharpe to have any of the things that he too himself would like to have.
At HunchOJT_ writes, thoughts on Latina women. I love them. I love me a Spanish-speaking woman. I really, really, really do. I love it. Now, that ain't all you got to have. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to have it, but I mean, it is a plus. A bilingual woman, specifically Spanish, whispering in your ear, you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I will acknowledge that. So, no shade on the Latina women whatsoever. Let me throw that out there.
Oh, God.
What are we doing?
What happened, Chris Cody?
That just made me want to cover my face.
Why?
That was just I don't
The
need,
delivery is the
sexual.
whole-
I don't need the sexual delivery. Just tell me you like them.
Cover your face with what?
You need it to be sensual and sultry. We were talking about this last week. I was looking at all of you guys when I said, so you guys feel sexy all the time, huh? Because I generally don't feel sexy. Not a feeling that I experience very often. But I looked at all of you and you're like, yep, we're maximum sexy. Stephen A. Smith, I assure you, Stephen A. Smith thinks he is maximum sexy.
I loved when he in the voice realized he might have stepped in, and he's like, I love when they don't have to have that, but I do like that.
He likes him. He likes
What do you think he's talking about?
poppy. The word poppy. He likes.
poppy. Yeah, he
that's
likes
what
the
he
word
likes.
poppy.
He likes a whispered poppy.
It's not mandated, but I do love it.
We are in agreement on that. That it's just a whispered poppy. The word poppy.
That's all you need sometimes, Dano.
Maybe the word "I" in front of it, probably.
But if you are lacking in that one thing, perhaps visit Florida Center for Cosmetic Surgery. Just one look is worth 1,000 words.
He's always there.
I want him to be around all the time. I want to take him home with me and just hang around with Complicated Legacy Joe Zagacki. And it doesn't seem like it's that hard of an impersonation.
Okay, puppy.
He just got to it first. I mean,
I don't think I'm ready for Complicated Legacy sensual Joe Zagacki. How do his tastes run?
You know, I'm a big supporter of the conventional family dynamic. We've gone away from that. A lot of fatherless homes. I can get into it. But first, Bill Seidel's going to save you.